Oi, eu sou o Hélio de La Pen e quero convidar você para assistir a mais um Fael Entrevista.
Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, boa madrugada, como você está assistindo esse vídeo hoje? Porra, Rafael Pestana, isso aí, cara. Porra, é o mundo todo, entendeu? Hoje é a entrevista com a norte-americana Christiana Jackson, uma super comediante vinda aí de Nova York. A qualidade é outro patamar, isso aqui é outra coisa, entendeu? Isso daqui não é qualquer coisa não. Então deixa seu like, se inscreve aqui no negócio de inscrever. Se tu se inscreve aí, clica no sininho para vocês ativar as notificações. E quero agradecer aí a Christiana por ter aceitado, né, ser entrevistado por esse negão gostoso aqui, esse negão maravilhoso, essa coisa aqui linda, maravilhosa. Agora, editor gostoso de olhos lindos, som da
Rafael Pestana. Se inscreva. Rafael Pestana. COMÉDIA. O entrevistador.
Fala, Cristina. Pô, vou chamar de Christiana aí, né? Enfim, Christiana Jackson. Ô, Jackson, como você se descobriu engraçada? Conta aí pra gente.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christiana Jackson. I'm a stand-up comedian here in the presently very sunny New York City. I live in Harlem. I'm so happy to be here and on Fael Entrevista. Doing this interview, I realized more than being funny, just how massive my tits are. Jesus Christ, trying to get a good angle on this. Rafael, it wasn't easy. Anyway, so I would say actually, I first realized that I was funny when I was very young. It's one of my first memories of like self-awareness. I remember knowing that I had very big eyes and I liked that, and knowing that I was very funny, and also at the same regard understanding that my type of funny is not for everybody. I knew that at a very young age, which is I think pretty advanced and also very sad. Like at 3 years old, 4 years old, be like, not everyone's gonna like you. But it's made life easier. So I feel like I dealt with it I was actually a very shy child. I was super shy. I'd say up until I really started coming out of my shell. Like once I moved to New York, it'll bring it out. I think you have no choice. You're either loud or you die, or you get trampled over, or you just don't get anything. So for years, I just kind of would observe and make myself laugh. I also really enjoyed making my mom laugh. I consider her my first audience. Of course, when I first told her I was going to an open mic here in New York, she said, "Oh, so you're doing spoken word?" And I was like, "No, comedy. Jesus Christ, you were my first fucking audience," but that's fine. And so I think I dealt with it by just using it as a tool of survival and a way to keep myself entertained and at time entertain other people. That's what I would say.
O meu papo é com você que quer impulsionar sua marca, sua rede social e ajudar a realizar sonhos. Você quer estar ao lado sendo colaborador do canal? Então me manda um e-mail para pestanafael10@gmail.com. Tá aqui na descrição. Seja um colaborador e conheça nossos colaboradores, nossos patrocinadores que fazem o canal Rafael Pestana só crescer. Tamo junto! Vamos continuar aí com o vídeo. Vamos dar essa espiadinha. Os Estados Unidos, né, o mundo está vivendo uma onda, né, como sempre viveu, só que agora é filmado, de uma série de ataques racistas. Como você observa o cenário nos Estados Unidos em relação ao racismo?
Heavy question. Okay, COVID is impacted, it's impacted the United States. You know, I'm in the epicenter in New York. So that has been like intense enough. It has impacted Black Americans or Black people, and then also Latinos more than other groups. So that has already been like a super intense thing to process. It's also affected a lot of comics. A lot of comics have just packed it up and gone the fuck home. And so now on top of it, to have all of these racial things that have really always been present and always been present in Black culture. We've never been shy about, I think artists especially have never been shy from speaking about. We've always communicated it, and it is that nobody gave a fuck. And then now all of a sudden people are starting to care. It's still very new. This is like week 3 of activism, new activism for a lot of people. I used to be very active in college. I'm not new to activism. I think for a lot of people it is new. I don't think that a lot of, and especially white people, understand just like how much work it takes to make change and how much change needs to be made. I think that I'm very cynical. I'm almost 40. I'm gonna be 39 next month. So I'm very like, I don't want to say I don't have any faith, but it's pretty low. It's very disappointing just to see how little people were paying attention, and then how people are acting surprised now. Because it's been there, it's been there. And actually, one of the last accomplishments of 2019, I did 2 half-hour sets last year. The second one was called Filth and Racism, because I'm a very dirty comic, but also have very, very strong opinions and varied experiences, not just here in America, but I've traveled internationally. And I've learned it's not fun to be Black almost anywhere. People are not, they don't roll out the red carpet for you when you're Black. It doesn't matter if it's here, if you're in Mexico, if you're in Ecuador, I haven't had that many problems in Cuba, but if you're in Cuba, it's always kind of like okay, racism follows you wherever you are. So even for my friends that are reaching out now, I'm like, hello, I had a whole half hour on filth and racism. Did you only listen to the filthy parts? Was that the only part that you found useful, entertaining, and my pain and my discrimination and oppression was just totally lost? So hopefully, I hope that things change, not just here, but especially because I've always been international minded and I've traveled abroad, and I know that it's not just in America that people of African descent throughout the diaspora, that there's oppression, that there's discrimination, that there's systematic racism, not just like everyday racism. I don't want to, Brazil, you have your own struggles. I've read a lot about it, and I have friends who are Brazilian, and met Brazilians who, have moved to New York. Most of them are white. It's not a coincidence. That's like an example of systematic racism right there. You can see it. But so I'm hoping there'll be progress. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of work to be done, and it can't be undone within 3 weeks. It's been very exhausting for me. I have been distracted by a lot of white people, just some of them sincerely just checking in and see how I'm doing, and then some of them wanting an explanation of centuries of oppression through text. It's insane. So it's been very exhausting, and it's also frustrating being a comedian and having so much that I want to say, and partially because I love, obviously, making people laugh about things that are very personal to me, but also I love making people uncomfortable. And I really wish I could get on stage and make a bunch of white people uncomfortable right now, just confronting them with the reality of what the world is if you are Black. Hopefully, once the pandemic ends and economy does what it does, hopefully I'll be able to get on stage and make some white people uncomfortable again. Hopefully also just learn and listen and laugh. That is last on my list. Right now, I'm not really excited to entertain white people. I mean, I want them to find me funny. I don't have to get up on stage and perform for white people, because I think I would just be like, you've laughed enough. Now just listen and change. Move forward, make progress, and change. Sorry, this is a very long answer. Chop it up as you need to. This is a very long answer, but I could talk about this topic forever. Also, I'm quarantined alone, so this is technically the first conversation I've had all day.
Jackson, quais são os próximos projetos e suas redes sociais? Conta aí pra gente.
Okay, so this question's a little tricky. There's still a global pandemic happening. So my most immediate next project would be to have some good sex again. There's not much to accomplish at this time. Anyway, so that's project number 1. Fuck Brazilian Poppy again. Big fan. Big fan. Not just me, her as well. She loves him. And he loves her. He doesn't love me, but he loves my pussy. So fingers crossed, 5th time's a charm. Okay, that's project number 1, Rafael. Project number 2. I have a weekly show on Instagram. Me and another comic. We just sit and talk shit before for the stand-up show on an improv network, socially distant improv. Our show's called Quarantine 15. We are doing that every Friday and Saturday at 9:30 until the world ends. Till the world ends or goes back to normal. We'll be on Instagram Live. So that's definitely a project. The other thing is I have been working on jokes, which at times feels insane, considering I don't know what I'll be able to tell them. But I'm working on my next half hour. Working on my next half, which will really can integrate very well into my last half, filth and racism. And just, I'm either going to expand it into like a full hour of filth and racism, but I'm starting first and working on my next half hour, as I spit again, which will be called I'm Not Your Oprah. Because everyone thinks I'm their fucking Oprah. But she's a billionaire and I'm an unemployed comedian. So no, I am not your Oprah. Don't come to me with all your problems. And that's for men and for women. Men and women. They see a shapely black woman and they tell you all their problems. And I'm like, oh, that's funny because I have my own problems I need to solve. Also, I don't care about yours. I don't know how I got cast as the next unpaid Oprah. But anyway, so I'm working on that. And then just working on staying like okay mentally. Mental health. It's not something that's really discussed in the Black community. It's not something that's really considered by other people, obviously, but everyone just dumping their problems on me. But I think like that's the biggest problem. Not the biggest problem. The biggest project for me right now is just like staying in a healthy, positive mindset in the midst of all this chaos. And it's been, it's challenging, but it has been good to be able to say, I need to put myself first, that I am important, that I need to be healthy. So yeah, and then that's something that's also, will feed into, for me, I mean, I need to be in a healthy mental space. I'm the opposite of most comedians. The comedians are like, oh, in New York at least, they'll say like, how can you, oh no, like when your life is good, it's like impossible to be funny. No, I need to like feel good to laugh at things. It's if I'm like sad about the innocent murder of Black people or, being almost 39 and being alone, I'm not gonna be funny. I'm just gonna purely be sad. I'm not gonna find it humorous. So those are the things I would say I'm working on. Brazilian Poppy, getting some more of his dick. My next half hour, I'm Not Your Oprah. And then just being in a positive, happy mental place. That's it. That's a lot. It's a lot.
E aí, rapaziada, gostaram do vídeo? Então deixa seu like, comenta aqui embaixo o que você achou. Me segue nas minhas redes sociais. Você aí, norte-americano, segue aí, porra. Arroba Rafael Pestana Oficial no Instagram. Tá tudo aqui na descrição, as redes da Christiana. Quero agradecer mais uma vez a Jackson por ter aceitado a entrevista. Beijo e todos que acompanham com a sua maravilhosa audiência. Beijo. Te amo. Um negócio aí do respeito que eu namoro. Tamo junto, galera. Valeu, até semana que vem.
Rafael Pestana. Pestana.